Hi there, my name is Brian Crowford from Little Rock Printing. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about the history of CMYK and Pantone Colors and why sometimes your Pantone color does not turn out the way you want it to be. So this will be quick but efficient. So we'll do it as a timeline. So in the early 1900s, color printing process was invented called CMYK. CMYK stands for cyan, yellow, magenta, and black. Turns out that those four colors using in the printing process mixed overlapped of each other created the widest variety of creating colors, which is still the standard that we use in printers today. In the I believe it was 1962, Pantone, which you know is a PMS, was invented, and it was a actual business in the United States that started using a variety of pigments that created 114 different varieties of color. The pigments were designed for running specific colors on presses. Pantone is still here today. So what you had, if you had a printer press, so this is a traditional printer press. Paper goes in this end, okay? And then plates were created. So plates are, imagine typesetting letters onto a metal plate. And that plate was run through the machine. Each of these things, CMYK, not always in that order, would drop cyan, magenta, yellow, and black onto the printer, and out comes your printed product. This is what happened for most of the 1900s. That variety of colors that CMYK does, surprisingly, these things are not related. This is not a lookup of this, and this is not all the variable colors that are possible by CMYK, which is a very common misconception. So, when Pantones were created, because Pantones had 114 unique, specific colors, companies started using them more often. And in a world where in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and even for some companies today, printing was a very large run thing you did for your company. So that Pantone could be created and extra channels into the printer press were created. And this is where you would put your Pantone. So similar to going to Home Depot to make an ink color, the Pantone would go into this channel. So CMYK would get used or skipped depending on which part of the printer it is. And then the Pantone ink would go onto the plate. So what we have now, I believe is in the early 2000s or the late 90s, Pantone and CMYK, Pantone started to create, hey, you're looking for this Pantone, which is the PMS color. How do I get there? Because I don't want to pay for a press run and get a Pantone bill, but I love this color. So what Pantone did is they created CMYK values to create a Pantone. So they might say, the most common one I like to use is reflux blue, which is the bank blue you would see very similar to this marker. This blue is very tough to make using cyan, which is light blue, yellow, pink, which is magenta, and black. So the CMYK values for creating a color like this, like the Bank of Montreal, that kind of really vibrant blue, Remax, is cyan. Pantone said the recipe to get the closest result to this blue, knowing that you can't just get in that Pantone ink, I believe is cyan 100%, magenta 95%, 0 yellow, 0 black. I always use this example because what happens if you mix cyan 100%, as much cyan as possible, and as much pink as possible? You're gonna get, wait for it, you got it, purple. Not this blue. So this is the common misconception about, well, I looked up the CMYK values of my Pantone. Well, these two things are not a direct lookup. This is a separate thing, which is still great for choosing your color. But this is the best recipe they have created to make this color. So, what are the takeaways? The key is, the number one thing we always tell our customers is use the Pantone Bridge Book. So the Pantone Bridge Book will have a color like PMS 150, and it'll have 2 boxes, not 1 box. And it'll give you your values of CMYK, and it'll give you 2 different colors of blue. And then it'll say that is the range of this color. So the number one thing to do when you're working with your graphic designer, if you are a graphic designer, is to pick colors that have low variance. Because here's the stunning fact, stunning number. Pantone CMYK, this is the best way to make colors. The CMYK process can only print 50% of the Pantone's 114 different colors. So, 55%, these are related, but not related. So what do? Or what are we doing in the printing world? So one of the things we're doing is we're adding additional print processes. So we're adding things like adding cyan, light cyan, magenta, light magenta, yellow, and black. That creates a wider range of halftones and colors. Another thing that's happening is using 6 colors to blend. So hexachrome printing is CMYKOG, orange and green, I believe. So the orange and the green, imagine making, the fact that we can even make orange at all with pink and yellow is phenomenal. And that's the blend of halftones in modern printing. But new printers are coming out that are using 6 sets of colors to make your Pantone library. Some of this technology can get to closer to 90% of your Pantone library. So, very important to get proofs run. Have your graphic designer pick colors out of the bridge book, okay? And understand that at the end of the day, we're blending colors to make our best version of the Pantone. So, this will come out different on your home printer because every printer's blend of CMYK is different. Just like a kitchen, just like the same ingredients in a different house, different blender, put in a different order, you're gonna get a different output. So if your color is important to you and you switch printers or even the same printer, the output will come out looking different at different times. So most print companies can match an existing one by playing with it, but if you have something you like, you need to bring in a hard copy to a print shop, say this is the color I'm trying to hit, because what they might wind up doing is taking these values. The best thing to do is to use the PMS color that you're trying to hit as a spot color in the CMYK color space. I'll talk about RGB another time. There's a lot of resources on RGB versus CMYK. Use the PMS spot color in the CMYK. That'll tell the printer what you're trying to do. The printer will then use its best version of that blend to make that for you, okay? And then if you have a hard copy of something that exists already, the printer can manipulate these different values on each different printer to try and get the closest output. So why does my Pantone not look like the CMYK value? Because they are unrelated. They are simply coincidental. So that is a very confusing thing, even for modern printers and graphic designers sometimes to realize, because it seems so logical that the Pantone library is just all the possible recipes of CMYK, but in fact it is a totally unrelated process invented in 1962 by a private company, which is an awesome company, and Pantone's watching. And we are working in the blended space to create new ways to hit all these beautiful Pantone colors. Thank you for watching. Hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, you can email me at brian@littlerock.ca. Reply in the comments. Thank you very much.